Hey, welcome to the channel. So today I'm going to be taking this crappy fender off. It is pretty beat up. I'm just going to trash it, but I figured why not do some paint testing, see what we can do with the colors of the car. So I'm going to go ahead and take this fender off. There's only a few bolts holding this specific fender on. I thought there was more, but apparently there's not. This is the Project Civic that we are going to be doing in memory of Jesse. So I'm going to take this over here. And now I'm going to pop this little piece off right here, which as you can see I already loosened up. Alright, so now I like to take some wax and grease remover, or wax and tar remover from Rust-oleum or Duplicolor on a clean towel, spray some on the fender, sprinkle it on there, however you want to do it. Putting it in a spray bottle works pretty well. You're going to want to make sure to get it really clean before sanding, because if you don't, you can just push the wax and the tar and the grease and all the road grime into the paint more, and it'll chemically react with the paint. So I'm going to wipe this down real quick and then we'll move on to the next step. Next step is to get some 220 grit 5-inch hook and loop sanding discs. These work really well. They're cheap from Walmart. I prefer the ones from Home Depot, but they work pretty well. You can sand it like this, but a lot of people frown upon it. It's better for like the smaller areas to get into doing it by hand. There is another option that I have that works really well too. So I'll show you that right here. This little thing right here you can get at AutoZone, pretty cheap. It's just basically a foam thing that you can use to sand. I used it during my wet sand and buff video on my other YouTube channel, the James D Guy channel. So if you haven't seen the pink CRV wet sand and buff video, go to that channel and check it out. This makes it really easy to get into curved spots and not leave finger impressions from your sanding. So basically I'm just going to sand this whole thing down with some 220 grit. I just kind of go with the flow of things, just kind of sanding however. If you're making it look good, you're going to want to make sure to sand really well and not skip over things, because the areas like right here where I'm working, those get missed very often when people paint. This fender is garbage. I don't really care. I'm just scuffing it to kind of give you an idea of how it works. But make sure your bodywork's all in order or you will see it through the paint job for sure. So we'll skip to the next step. Alright, now that you have it sanded, get more of your grease and wax remover on a clean rag or shop towel, making sure to get all the sanding dust off, getting into all the cracks and crevices, making sure that it's wiped down really well. You might have to go over it a few times just to make sure it's very thoroughly wiped down, and then you will let it dry to where it's nice and dry to the touch. Because that can affect your paint job if you don't let it dry. So we're going to go ahead and wipe this down really fast and then we'll get to the painting process. I decided to just speed this part up for you so you can watch it dry. Looks cool. But anyways, this is the paint I'm using. I used it in previous projects like the Warhawk from my other channel. Has about this much inside, not very much. We're going to see if we can do the entire fender off of what's left. Make sure to wear a respirator. That's what I'm looking for right here. And it was behind the camera. Make sure to wear a respirator. That way you don't get lung cancer, as everyone on YouTube says. It is bad for your health, especially to breathe in fumes. But yeah, the wind started picking up, as it always does when I pick a spray can up. So make sure you're in a well-ventilated area and the wind's not blowing. It will help save you money because you're not getting material on the project when the wind blows like that. But basically just hit the edges first. It's smartest to do this so that you don't get runs and you're not laying it too thick to try to make up for those edges. So try to hit the edges first. It's just a technique that I do and it works well for me. It always has, while maintaining a 50% overlap. Never paint in the direct sunlight either. I figured I'd just say that now. It'll dry too fast, and what you want to do is make it to where the panel or whatever you're painting stays wet looking. So you want to do a 50% overlap, maybe not on your first coat, it's not as important. A lot of people will argue with that, but whatever. You want to just make sure to cover everything on your first coat, even if it's not very thick, because your second coat will really bring it out. But I'm going to stop talking. You can kind of see the technique I'm using. I will be doing this to the entire car using a 2K Clear, which is a two-part system that they use in the spray gun. They now have in a can. We will have to wet sand and buff. That's not a big deal, and I will show that too. Not on this fender, but when I go to actually paint the whole car. So I will stop talking. You guys can kind of see how I do this. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit for you, and hope you guys enjoy this, and then we'll put it back on the car. Alright, this is after 20 minutes. We've been letting it dry, so you can see right there there's quite a bit of orange peel. Never had that bad, but it's probably because it's a really old can and it was really empty. I've never had other spray can jobs turn out that bad, so this is a good thing. It's a junk fender, but as you can see right here, there's definitely some darker areas that you can see right there. That's because of the can being empty. Made it last quite a while. It looks pretty decent. I mean, besides that looks gross. But it has a little bit of orange peel. That could be wet sanded, and then before we put the clear, it could be fixed. But this is just a junk fender. I don't really care for it. We'll go ahead and get this put back on the car, just to kind of get a rough idea of how it would look if the car were yellow. Alright, we're going to put this fender back on, just for temporary. I just want to see how it looks paired up with everything else, kind of get a good look. Put one bolt here, and I'll put a bolt down here just to kind of snug it up. It's just a junk fender. It doesn't look too bad. It has pretty good shine to it, and this is without any clear, without 2K or crystal clear enamel or whatever. I prefer 2K clear, and it looks pretty good for a beat up junk fender that we were just doing a test on. I mean, obviously the fender looks like total crap, but overall you get the idea of how it's gonna look. You can see right there there's dark spots and a bug flew into the paint, but that's just because we didn't have much can. I think I could have went a couple more coats over this if we had more paint. So what do you guys think? Think it'll look good like the spoon yellow look? I have some of the spoon cars that are blue and yellow. They look pretty good like that. I'm a fan of using spray can like this just because it's super cheap, $4 here in the States at least. And if you screw it up, you can just get another can and fix it. So, what do you guys think? Definitely leave me a comment. Stay tuned to my James D Guy channel as well. I will have more stuff on that. I'm going to be painting a fender satin black, and that'll be on the channel after this is uploaded. So definitely stay tuned, everyone. A lot of stuff coming in here. I'm going to be cleaning all that crap out. So definitely stay tuned to the channel. Check out both channels, the James D Guy and this one. We definitely have more content coming. Thanks for watching. God bless.